So I've had a problem for quite a while, and I've came up with a solution, and I wanted to share the solution with you guys. And honestly, I need to rebuild my solution because I currently don't have it optimized, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. But first, let's talk about the problem. We have probably 4 or 5 PCs, including laptops, and I have a Mac laptop as well as a PC desktop, a Windows desktop, and I always struggle to share files between Mac and my Windows machine. And there's a lot of different cloud options that I could do. I could potentially use iCloud to log in on my local PC and download it, but that's just a hassle for me. So I started looking around for other solutions, and I came up with this. This is a local cloud you can build on your network, and you can attach hard drives to it. You can use internal storage depending on what you're using. And I just wanted to show it off, show you how to get it set up and how to get it installed. But I have a problem. Right now, the current GUI that you're looking at, so the software we're going to use is CasaOS or CasaOS. I think I'm going to call it CasaOS for this video. I may be saying it wrong. What you're looking at here is the web interface. Let's go through this real quick, and I'm going to show you how to set it up. But I want to show the magic of this right here. So this is the GUI. Right when you log in, you'll see this. So it has the total storage available, how much you've used on storage. You could come in here, add, modify, format, merge, and do all that stuff. It's pretty awesome. Files. So one great thing about this is I have 3D print files as well as video files. I can move very large files here, and I don't have to worry about a cap or some type of data limit such as you get with an actual cloud provider such as Dropbox, Google Drive, or things like that. So that's one massive benefit about having your own cloud at home, and that is that there's no data limit. You can put a 500 gigabyte file on this share, and you can get it anywhere in your house. You can also do port forwarding and be able to access it outside of your house. That's maybe another video if you guys want to see that. But for now, I want to go over what I have and show you how to get it installed. But yeah, here it is. I have all of my files here, and you can share it out. This right here will give you a share path, which is pretty cool. You can paste this in a Windows File Explorer or a Mac Finder, and you'll be able to browse the folder that you share out. So that's one great benefit, but I do have one problem with this setup. Currently, this is running on an Ubuntu VM on one of my desktop PCs. And that's a problem for me because I don't want to waste power. I don't want to keep my desktop PC that's built out, pretty high spec, running 24/7 so I can access my cloud. So I'm going with a better option, and that better option is put it on a Raspberry Pi. So this is the Raspberry Pi I'm going to be using. I believe this is a 3. So you don't have to do it on the newest Raspberry Pi. Just know that it may be a little slower. For this video, I'm also going to use an external hard drive. You could use just the SD card on a Raspberry Pi. Okay, so before we jump in, let's talk about what you need to get started. You'll need a Raspberry Pi, a micro SD card, as well as, if you're planning on putting it on external storage, some type of external hard drive. For me, I'm going to be using this one. I don't really need speed. Alrighty, so future me here, after testing the current setup I had in this video, I realized that a hard drive that I chose just wouldn't work. And that's because either one or two options. One, it's underpowered. Two, there's because it's a external hard drive, it has a USB sleep mode. So it would go to sleep, therefore killing the storage. So if you're going to use my video as a tutorial, use a hard drive that has a dedicated power option, such as one that plugs into the wall, as well as a USB option that goes to a Raspberry Pi. Also make sure it's not any type of hard drive that has a sleep function. A lot of times green drives will have that. But yeah, you can continue on. Just I'm going to be referencing this hard drive throughout the video. Don't use this one. Use one with a dedicated power. All right. Back to the video. If you're planning on utilizing high speeds, you're going to need a better hard drive than what I'm using. This is just a 2 terabyte portable hard drive. I don't really care about speed. I just want the files to be there. I can download and just let it roll. Look into what type of hard drive that you want to use, and make sure you get one that's going to adequately solve a problem that you have. Also, you need a card reader of some sort. I'm using this USB card reader. So let's get the software. We want to go to raspberry.com/software. You can also just Google Raspberry Pi 5 Imager, and You can even click on this GitHub page and it will have the download link here. There's a lot of ways you can get here. So you'll click download for Windows. There it is. You'll click open and click yes. And this is pretty self-explanatory. You just keep on rolling through the install window. If you're planning on using this Raspberry Pi imager quite a bit, go ahead and add your little desktop shortcut, make your life a little easier. And we're gonna let this finish. We're gonna launch it. Okay, at this point, go ahead and take out your SD card, put it in your card reader, throw it in your machine, and I'll show you what to do next. So if a window pops up after you plug in an SD card, just close it. That's going to be the contents of the SD card. So again, know what Raspberry Pi device you're going to use. I'm using a Raspberry Pi 3. We're going to choose this, and we're going to go 64-bit. And you should see your SD card here. And this is what mine is. Mine's 128 gig, and it's mounted as E. So we'll click next here. Alrighty, and here you want to specify your host name. Mine is just prod-CasaOS. We'll click next. Put in your settings here. This is fine for me. So for this, put in your username and password. Make sure you put in a good password, secure password. Do not put password as your password. Okay, we're going to click next here. And here you want to put in your Wi-Fi SSID as well as your password. And I need to grab that. So let me grab that here. So make sure you have enable SSH checked. You're going to need that to log in to your Raspberry Pi. We'll click next. This right here allows you to set up a connection where you can access your Raspberry Pi outside of your network. You could totally enable that, get that set up. I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to need access to the Raspberry Pi because I'm going to have access to my desktop. And if I need to, I can just get in from there. All right, and right. And of course, you get your little warning here. I understand. Erase and write. And if you have Windows pop up like this, just ignore it. Pull this up. We're going to let this roll. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Alrighty, and it just finished here. So I'm going to hit finish. So from here, you can unmount the drive. Looks like it already done it for us, but I always check just to be sure. So let me grab that. We're going to put it into the Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to show you how to log into your Raspberry Pi and find it on the network. You got your SD card, your micro SD card. Just pop it in the Raspberry Pi, plug up the Raspberry Pi. We're going to wait a few minutes, and I'll show you how to get the IP so we can SSH into it. All right, we're going to power on the Raspberry Pi. I have the hard drive plugged in as well. So there's three major ways you can look and find your IP. One, you can have a monitor hooked up to the Raspberry Pi, get the IP from there. Two, you can get the IP from your router. You can log into your router. My particular router has a way I can look at a client list or network map, as they call it. And at the very bottom, I see the name that I gave the Raspberry Pi, prod-CasaOS. And there's my IP. So my favorite way of getting the IP is actually just using an app on my phone. I'm using an iPhone and I use Net Analyzer. Android has something similar, but I don't recall what the name of that app is. But you can download the app, install it, hit the scan button, and you can just scroll through the app here and you'll see the IP. All right, so now that we know the IP, we're ready to log in to the Raspberry Pi. There's a lot of different tools you can use. If you're using a Mac or a Apple machine, you could use Terminal. If you're using Windows, I like to use Putty, but there's also tons of different options. If you don't have an SSH client and you need to download one, just Google Putty and you can find it here. You can come in here and grab any of these executables, or if you want to install it, you can install it from there. So once that is in place, you will be able to double click, type in your IP, and it's going to prompt you with user credentials. These user credentials are the user credentials that you specified in the Raspberry Pi imager. So I'm going to put in my credentials. Alrighty, so these commands that we're going to run, I'm going to have them listed in the comment in the video description below. We need to first run update and upgrade, and then I'll show you how to install the CasaOS. So we're going to do sudo apt update at 2 ampersands. And we're going to do sudo apt upgrade, and we're going to do a -y. -y is just a flag you pass through to tell it yes to any questions that may arise from this command. So let's do it. Now this will take a few minutes. So just let this run and we'll see you in a moment. You're taking forever. You're taking all day. Please hurry and get out of my way. Alrighty, so we're finally done with the updates. That took quite a while. It's normal for it to take a while, by the way. So now let's get on to the part where we are actually installing CasaOS. And I'm just going to copy a command here. And I'll have this command listed below. So there's the command, very short here. We're going to hit enter. And hands off, just let it roll. Okay, and it just finished. As you can see, it's telling us to open the browser and go to the IP address. We're going to do that in a moment. But what I like to do, anytime I do any updates or install something, I want to go ahead and do a reboot, just so I have a clean reboot. So let's go ahead and do that. So sudo reboot. All right, so we triggered the reboot. It'll take a few minutes to come back up. If you ever want to check and see if it's up, you can do one or two things. I'm just going to do a quick ping. .74. That's not 74. Let's try that again. Alrighty, and we're getting a ping response, so that tells me that we are up and running. So I'm going to close that now. I'm going to right-click and restart session. Type in your credentials again. Okay, so CasaOS is installed. So let's open a web browser. And let's go to that URL. Alrighty, so once you go to the URL, it'll come right here and want you to create an account. This account is only for the web interface. So go ahead and do that and create. Alrighty, so here is the web interface. I'm going to go ahead and format this drive. Don't recall if I've done it before. So this password it wants, that's just the web interface password that you created. So go ahead and type that in. It'll take a minute to format, and then I'll show you how to create folders, how to access folders. Alrighty, so the format has completed. You'll know that when the loading screen goes away, or the little loading will. You also have the option to merge storage. Pretty much that just combines your storage into one drive. Just know that if you do that, and you remove that hard drive for any reason, or if you turn on your Raspberry Pi without a hard drive, it could corrupt the data. So right now you can think of it as treating this other drive as an external drive. If I remove this, this will not in any way corrupt the boot partition, and the CasaOS will load properly. But if you merge it and remove that guy, you don't have to reformat, start over. Alrighty, so now we're ready to create a folder or files that we want to access from anywhere at your home network. Click on this files here. I'm going to click on the external hard drive. I'm going to create a folder. And I'm going to call this family share. I'm calling it this, and I don't want to put spaces in here because when and if I do map the network drive to Windows, it could cause issues. So family share, I'm going to hit submit. Now at any point, any machine on your network can log in with those credentials in this web interface and access this folder, copy files, download files, and everything else. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to do, and this is more for the advanced users. So if you're just going to be using this web interface, you could go ahead and hop off. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. But if you want a more advanced tutorial on how to map this to your PC, that way you can access it at any time without having to go to the web interface, you're in the right place. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, I want to share this folder out. So I'm going to click this. We're going to click on share. And it is now shared. These are the links you can go to and browse to access files without having to do the GUI. Now there is a problem though. I'll show you here. If you're using Windows 11, and Windows 10 may be doing this too, but if I go to map network drive and I put it here and hit finish, it's going to want credentials. So this credential that it's asking for has not been created. This is actually a Samba username and password that it's wanting. So I am now going to show you how to create that and make it where it can access the family share. And then from there, we can properly map these drives to your local machine. So let's go to PuTTY. Now we want to go to the Samba casa config file. So first, I'm just going to sudo su, make myself root here. Alrighty, so once you're root, you want to head over to etc samba Alrighty, so I need to modify this file right here. And how you modify that, at least how I modify it, I use VI or Vim. With Raspberry Pi, VI doesn't work really nicely with the arrow keys, so I'm going to install Vim. So apt install Vim. Alright, I didn't specify the -y, which means I need to manually type it. Alrighty, so now that we have Vim installed, we want to make sure our user that we specified has access to modify Samba files. So the command is smbpasswd -a dfaulks. Alrighty, so once you type in that command, you have to enter in your SMB password, which would be the Samba password. So I'm going to enter that now. Alrighty, so we got the user added. Now we're very close to being able to access the shared folder on our Windows machine and map it appropriately. But there's one more step we need to do. And that's going to be modifying this file. So I'm going to do, first, make sure you're in /etc/samba. Then we want to open up Vim, VIM, and open up the config. The config will look like this. And there's a few things I'm going to do just for security's sake. I'm pressing I for insert. Once you see that insert at the bottom, that means you're able to type and erase things. Alrighty, so for me, I take security and safety very seriously. So I've turned public to no, turned guest okay to no, so no guest account, as well as I disabled the force user as root. So lastly, we want to come down here and enter the user we're going to be using to access this family share. By the way, please note that this is the same name. This is the same folder as the folder we created here. So anytime you create a new share that you want to be able to access using a mapping process within Windows, you're going to need to make sure you come in here and add yourself as a valid user at the very least. So make sure you have valid user set as well. Put this as the user you just created the SMB password for. In my case, it was dfaulks. So I got this ready. Now I need to save it. I'm going to hit Control-C. At the bottom, you'll see a :QA exclamation point. Now that will quit all, and it will not take any changes. We want to type in :WQ, which is write and quit. So now we want to restart the service for CasaOS. So that command is systemctl restart and CasaOS. And now that it's done, now once that's done, we should be able to map the network drive. Let's give it another try. So we're going to do map network drive, and I need to grab that shared path again. So we're going to do this. We're going to go to, oh yeah, that's right. We're going to go to shared down here. You want to click on these three dots, go to network path, copy this. Now that we have set a user and we've also set the password, we'll be able to come in here and map this network drive. So map, type it in there. All right, so let's enter the credentials here. And once you type in your credentials, there you go. We are in, and as you can see, if we create a folder and call it test, now if we go in here, we should see that folder. So we'll go to browse that share, and there it is. Alrighty guys, that's it. That's the tutorial. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I'm running quite long on my end. I need to edit this down and kind of make it short. Alrighty, so if you follow everything in this tutorial, you will be able to map the network drive to your Windows machine, to your Mac, and to pretty much anywhere you want to map it to. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.